Hello and welcome to a new episode of I Can Do. I am Benjamin Lee. Always excited to be able to talk to you and to have another fantastic guest on the show. Today we have Keeon Taylor on the show. Really looking forward to hearing more about his story, his journey in the fitness, and him helping us to be the best person that we can be with our health. And so, Keeon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Benjamin.
Yeah. Now we were talking a little bit before, but tell the audience what part of the world are you in?
All right, so I'm from the beautiful Caribbean island of Trinidad, and Tobago is the southernmost island.
Nice, very nice. Yeah. So this is awesome, man. I love having people and meeting people from all around the world. And Keon, I know you're big into fitness, and I started with fitness and exercise, I guess, at a young age. But I'm curious for you, when did you really get started into exercise and fitness?
All right, so let's go to where all it started before I'll let you know where I got started in fitness. So in the Caribbean, we play a lot of sports. I grew up playing football. Well, we call it football. Americans call it soccer.
Right.
So so that's what I grew up playing, and as I started getting a little taller, started playing basketball. So I'd have played in school, recreational. I would have played in community like leagues that they had. So it's a lot of fun, and eventually, as time went on, I realized a lot of my friends they were gaining weight. We were getting a little older, and I migrated to the U.S. So I attended an HBCU
Oh,
in
nice.
in Florida, and we had intramural sports. So every year I'd play basketball, and then eventually they had intramural soccer. So I said, I'm
Mm.
definitely gonna play that. There were a lot of international players as well as Americans, and we had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, during the first game of the actual league, the intramural league, before we had a lot of warm up games, getting accustomed, to playing with each other. But when we actually had the first game, I would say about 5 minutes into it, I intercepted a pass. I realized my body was in an awkward position. No one was on me, and as I planted my foot, I heard a pop, and I felt something in my knee and a sharp pain. I was on the ground. Now nobody knew what happened. All I knew is I was in a lot of pain, and a couple of the guys who were playing had to help me off the field. But being the resilient person I am, I was like, I'm going back on. I did not know how serious the injury was. So I went back on. My knee was swollen like a big balloon, very painful, but deciding to play through this pain, and I got a pass. When I went to kick it, I felt like my knee came out. What's going on here? I was like, okay, sub me. I'm good. I'm good. I sat down. Eventually, MRIs, all that stuff, tore my ACL. And I would say, yes, I would have started my fitness journey then and there, but I was
Mm.
doing bits of it even leading up to that point. Playing football, enjoy doing the push-ups. If someone scored a goal, your team had to do push-ups. The fitness, the whole exercise
Hmm.
routine. So anyhow, I realized that, I spoke to a doctor, and he's like, you could live with this, you could manage it. Initially, I wanted to get surgery, but I knew have to go through rehab, would have to get support, and I really didn't have any family where I was. It's kind of on my own. Yes, I had friends, but friends could only do so much. He said, no, you could manage it. And I said, okay, let's manage it. And I started getting more into the gym, doing exercises, building up the muscle, doing everything that was needed to be done. And I remember working out at a Planet Fitness, and
Hmm.
these two guys were like, I was doing burpees. It's like, we don't know what you're doing, but we're going to do it. We want to follow you. And yeah, people would ask me, what I was doing, what type of routine. Friends wanted me to train. They were recommending me, and I was like, okay, what's really going on here? And that, was when I really started to head more towards the fitness direction, and I became certified. And I would say that is when I would have started getting the injury, becoming consistent with exercising, and people seeing what I was doing, being inspired, asking me to help them, then becoming certified. So that is when I would say I got started.
Nice. How old were you then when you had the knee injury?
I tore my ACL when I was 25 years.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what was the name of the school that you attended?
I attended Bethune-Cookman University.
Nice. Nice. Very nice. So did you major like in kinesiology, or was this just something totally different?
Something totally different. So I majored a Bachelor of Science in accounting, majored in
Yeah.
accounting.
Okay.
Totally different, yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that stands out to me, Keon, is, how people were able to see your transformation, the changes that you were making. I think that's something really important, how, people were just kind of attracted to you. Hey, he's doing something right. I can see it. Let me get some help from you. And I think that says a lot with, there's so many people out there, and there's always somebody out there to give tips and advice. But when you're actually living it and people can see it, that makes all the difference. So you're 25, fast forward. When did you end up getting officially certified? And that would be is that for personal training? Is that correct? Or being a certified trainer?
Yes, it'd be for personal training, to become a personal trainer. So maybe I would say about 6 years after I decided to get certified.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So you've been training other people. Tell us about that. What are some of the services that you have, and then I want to dive into an approach that you want to share with us as well.
All right. So I initially started off doing group fitness because during my period also in the US, I would have connected with a group fitness trainer. We actually became pretty good friends. And the whole group training, it really intrigued me. It's really interesting. It had this community with it. So naturally, when I came back to Trinidad, I never went to work in a gym like most traditional trainers would do. I formed a group and I did everything I needed to do to grow the group, and I did group fitness. It was a lot of fun. Um, Being able to help people, being able to see them support and encourage each other. And when one person goes missing and then they come back, everyone was like, "Where were you? Where have you been?" That kind of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have a few personal clients here and there. So I would have utilized a community center, made an arrangement with them to utilize it. And I would have personal clients come in at certain times, and I would do the group training like much later on in the evening.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. As we get into fitness, there's one other thing I want to talk a little bit about, and that's with nutrition. I love to get your thoughts now that you're training people and things like that. What's your philosophy with, um, there's so many different diets out there. Maybe even you may have some thoughts on just the idea of dieting itself, but what's your philosophy with, I guess, just eating? And by that, I mean, we were talking a little bit when before the podcast on a platform, and you had mentioned Bill Phillips, and you saw that I was able to speak at one of his camps, and I've always liked his philosophy of protein and carbs, healthy fats each meal. There's a lot of different things that are out there today. I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What are things that you're
I would say nutrition, firstly, would depend on a person's goal. Now, the majority of the people who come to me, their goal is to lose weight. So I look at how your current lifestyle is and what changes can you make. And you make these changes gradually, because now there are a ton of diets out there. There are different things you can do: low carb, intermittent fasting, uh, all these different type of diets, and they each have their place. But I would say you look at your lifestyle and look and see where you can make changes. And I also look into macros. So
Mm-hmm.
without getting too much into the numbers, your macronutrients are your proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and just doing a bit of a calculation based on where a person wants to go. And there are quite a few resources out there that could generate the different recipes, the different meals that they need to eat. And no, not everyone may have access to all the different ingredients. For example, a recipe may call for spinach. Maybe where you are, you don't really have that great access to spinach. So let's use another green. So while everything may not be perfect in terms of what you need to eat, you do what the best you can do. And sometimes it's also the lesser of two evils. So, for example, you go out to eat, do you
Mm-hmm.
have the fries or maybe the baked potatoes? Once it's not too creamy, not too rich in cream, then maybe the baked potato might be a better option instead of fries.
Yeah.
So my overall philosophy is, effective nutrition, the right nutrition for you based on your goal, your um, current set of circumstances as well, which would be your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's something important there as well. I'm able to pull out, and that is you got to know what you're going after. So the people that are coming to you, that goal is going to be different. And maybe even too, making sure that we don't have so many different goals that we're not actually focused on the main goal. Well, I want to lose weight. I want to get stronger, which you can still do, but having three, four, five different things all at once. There's a running coach. Her name is Jessie. She was on the podcast last year, and just thinking about one of the things she said too, she was saying, she helps people like with half marathons and marathons. And she was saying, she doesn't take clients who are looking to lose weight. And I thought that was interesting because it's hard to run a long distance, if you're trying to do it for speed and you're trying to do that as well. So I thought that was really good. So really taking away what is it that we actually want. And then from there, being able to measure. I've started playing around a little bit more too, Keon. You were talking about macros. I was talking to a buddy of mine at the congregation where I attend.
Correct.
He was saying somebody else. He's in his 50s. I'm in my mid 40s now. So the body is changing. Things are not always going to
Mm-hmm.
stay the same. But he was talking about how somebody was saying, you got to keep the protein high, and he threw out the number 200 grams a day, for guys who are a little bit older and things like that. I will say, my protein intake has definitely decreased. So I've been experimenting with that this week, and I feel like I can tell a difference. Maybe it's placebo, but just ramping up the protein just by keeping track of it. And, I think it's helping me to stay a little bit more full. And it's
Correct.
actually been fun. It's been fun doing that because I just haven't done it, in a long time. So I think there's something to that with measuring the macros. Do you have any tips or recommendations or like an app or anything like that someone who's listening who says, well, where do I even get started, measuring these things? What might be a step or a place or location where they can go?
All right, so there's a website, Eat This Much, and there's also the MyFitnessPal. Those are the two resources that I use.
Awesome. All right. Eat This Much and MyFitnessPal. Okay, fantastic. So you have or want to talk a little bit about a 5 simple step approach to making the right decisions. So I think this is something really good. Decisions, especially daily decisions, like what James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, the daily decisions. So, what are these 5 simple decisions, to taking the right actions that can help us with the 5 simple steps of doing that?
Right. So it all starts with your mind. So your mindset, which is having a positive attitude, being resilient in the face of circumstances, in the face of obstacles and challenges. That's the number one. Not taken away from the others, which I would talk about. But if you don't have that mindset where, okay, I say I'm going to do this, but along the way, these things come up. Am I now going to focus on these things and let them derail me from my goal, or am I going to continue going in the direction where I want to go? So having the right mindset is the most important. And I used to still follow some of the videos, the late Kobe Bryant from the Lakers. Um, in terms of interviews he would do, and it's amazing to me. He had this resilient mindset in terms of the goal. I remember in an interview, he did really well. They were moving on, and he told a reporter the job's not done yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like having that resilient mindset that you're going to go after this thing regardless. For example, if you miss, let's say you miss a whole week of exercise, are you going to throw your hands up in the air and tell yourself, I just can't do this? Or are you going to start again the next week? Maybe you just go for 2 days. Maybe your lifestyle, the way you're living, may not be ideal for 5 days a week of exercise. Maybe it's just 2. So once you get your mindset right, all the details will come afterwards. All the details that have to be worked out will come. The second thing is nutrition. You need to prioritize nutrition if you're on a weight loss journey, even if you're trying to gain weight. Nutrition is key. And I heard, I think it's Sean Stevenson on one of his podcasts, the Model Health Show. He talked about nutrition being, or what you eat, food is information that you feed your body. Information to feed your body to make certain actions, to take certain actions, to do certain things. So effective nutrition means you're eating the right way based on the goal you want to achieve. So if your goal is, you trying to lose weight quickly, maybe you might need to eat so many carbs, or you focus on more quality carbs versus, a lot of processed foods, which really wouldn't get you going in the right direction. So effective nutrition is the second thing.
Okay.
The third thing is the right workouts, right type of workouts. So if you're going to be a runner, you focusing on running maybe a marathon, you would not be doing a lot of weights, right? Now, weights has its place, but if you're going to be a runner, then you need to do a lot of that thing that you want to become good at. You focus on running. If your goal is to look a certain way, sculpt, tone, you like that fit look, then you're definitely going to have to focus on weights. A little bit of cardio in between, but focus on weights. You want to build the muscle, you want to break it down, build it back up, get sufficient rest, all these things. So those are the first 3 major components. Then the next component, a lot of people, they don't really look at is reward. So if you're doing all this work, you want to feel rewarded. It could be external, internal. So internally, I'm doing this work. I see a friend I haven't seen in a while, and they say, "Wow, you look really great." How does that make you feel? All the hard work you've been putting in, you're now getting a reward. A dress or pants that wasn't fitting very well, when you decide, you know what, hey, I've been working out, I've been doing what I need to do, no, I'm losing the weight, let's see how this fits. The moment of truth, you put it on and it fits well. Another reward. And you could reward yourself external would be buying new clothes, maybe going out to eat, those type of things, because maybe you've been doing a lot of meal prep, and you know what, you tell yourself, hey, let me go out to eat. Let me go out to eat with a friend or with my husband or with my wife. I
Mm-hmm.
I deserve this reward. Um, the fifth component, I would have mentioned it earlier, community. So with group
Mm.
training, community could be in the form of many different things. So
Okay.
community could be, as I mentioned before, group fitness training, you physically train. Community could be online. So you could be part of a Facebook group community, and everyone is encouraging and inspiring each other. And then there's some people who pop up over and over, and you feel comfortable engaging with them. And when they say something, everyone in the group listens. You're inspired by that person, or maybe you may be an inspiration in that group. So community is so important. You also get to ask questions. So you might find you're taking long to lose weight, and you post a question in a group, and you get a range of answers, and one or two resonate with you, and you decide, I'm going to act on that. And then the next time you realize you're losing the weight. And
Mm-hmm.
community could also be in the form of online talks with a group. It's a group of people moving in the same direction. When you're discouraged and you're hearing the success story of someone, you're inspired to go again, or you're able to, hey, this is challenging. I struggled to meal prep because I was very busy and tired. And then you hear the story of someone who was busy and tired with an even more challenging story than you, and they were able to overcome. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, wow, I need to do what he did. So now you're pushed a little more to accomplish your goals instead of just allowing circumstances to get the better of you. So
Yeah.
just to recap those 5 steps: mindset,
Okay.
nutrition, the right exercise, reward, and the fifth one, community.
Nice. Okay, so let me ask a couple of questions. With clientele that you've had, out of those five, mindset, nutrition, workouts, reward, and community, what's been the most challenging for people to implement?
Mindset, having
Mm.
the right mindset, because people will tell you, I don't know what to eat, or, well, if you keep saying you don't know what to eat or eating is too hard, you are already starting from a defeated standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just change what you say. Maybe you can say, eating was a little challenging this week, but I plan on eating at least 2 good meals this week and working out in the gym at least 3 times. Even if it's just you go to the gym for 20 minutes, at least you're doing something. But that defeated mindset, once you tell yourself you can't, then everything else becomes harder.
Yeah. What tips or mental exercises might you be able to share to help people overcome some of the mindset challenges?
All right. So first thing is just changing a little bit about the way you think about the situation.
Okay.
So, for example, a long hard day at work, you come home, you're tired, you're not feeling to work out. First thing you want to do is maybe plop down on the couch, put on a television, or maybe you want to just eat some leftovers because I deserve this. I had a hard day, and working out is punishment. But working out isn't punishment. I heard someone saying when you exercise, it helps you get more energy, and it's it helps you to feel better about yourself. So yes, you're tired. If you could just push past that tiredness, and instead of when you come home going straight to the couch, come home, get your exercise shoes, put it next to you, and tell yourself, I'm going to put this on. You could take a little breather, maybe set a timer, and the next 5 minutes, I'm going to put my exercise shoes. So these are actually actionable things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
If you know you're feeling tired and you're not going to feel to work out, when you come home, put on a timer and take a seat, relax. and put your shoes right next to you or your exercise clothes. When that timer goes off, just tell yourself, I'm going to get up, change, and go to the gym. Or if you work out at home, maybe YouTube videos, I'm going to work out.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, especially with the timer. One of the challenges I've had, Keeon, in the past has been with the reward system. So I love hearing that you're talking about rewards, this idea of celebrating. I use the Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. I've been using that, I think, for the last 6 years. That's really helped me, just like with my day-to-day schedule. In his planner, he talks about, writing out some wins. And there's another book called The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And they talk about that too, right? Always measure backwards with respect to wins. My challenge at times, and maybe other people who are listening can relate to this, with respect to the reward, is sometimes we give ourselves a reward that actually can sabotage the results. So, you do well for a week and then you go out and you eat something big or something fatty or, something with a ton of sugar. How do we navigate that? What tips or recommendations, as we seek to reward ourselves, that we do it in a way that will not set us back, but continue to propel us, if that makes sense?
Understood. So, all right. So I would say like food is, some people say, we say it here in the Caribbean. I'm not too sure if it's an international thing. Some people say food is life, right?
Mm.
Some people, they boastfully say they love to eat, and they'll ask people they'll throw out a poll on social media, what am I known for? And it have people doing various things, and one person is eating, and a whole host of the comments are eating. So now you have someone who they're on the right track, and their goal, they've got certain goals, and they can't let these things sabotage their goals. All right, so the weekend is here, and maybe a friend is in town, and it's tough, it's challenging, but you know what? You could either make two decisions.
Mm.
I'm going to enjoy this time with my friend and go all out, or I am going to not be more strategic, be smarter about how I'm doing this. So if you're going out, it may take a little homework in terms of deciding what's on the menu, knowing what the menu is beforehand. If you're going to a social event, some people, they may walk with their own foods, or they find out what is being served
Mm-hmm.
and they eat accordingly. There are also little strategies people do. They may do intermittent fasting, and they may not eat as much during the day. And when it comes time for the social event, that's when they do the majority of their eating. So somebody who doesn't want to sabotage their goal, like if you're really sticking to your goal, then you're going to have to make provisions in terms of what you're going to eat, or if something
Mm-hmm.
is going to come up, you're going to have to make adjustments in terms of either you're going to walk with your own foods, or you're going to choose the lesser of two evils, the French fries or the baked potato. So that
Yeah,
that is
that's
what
awesome.
I would recommend. On a practical example, client of mine, she was going on vacation, and I'm glad she mentioned this to me earlier. When we started, sometimes people delay starting fitness programs because of things they may have coming up. She told me she was going on vacation, but this was when she had already started. And based on where she was going and what type of foods they would have around there, we made a game plan in terms of how she would go about navigating this vacation, because this would have been a period of time that could have sabotaged everything that she was doing. So based on where she was going, we made a game plan in terms of what she could do. But I also told her to make sure and enjoy the vacation, because this is a journey. And sometimes you may not get it right all the time, but make sure you enjoy the vacation. you would have certain choices. When
Mm-hmm.
these choices arise, if you want to stay in line with what you're doing, then you make this choice. If you make this other choice, then things are going to go haywire and you're going to kind of have to be starting yourself back up from scratch when you come back.
Yeah, I love that. That's excellent. So it does take it takes intentionality. That's something I'm taking away from that, right? It takes intentionality, avoiding the self sabotage for sure, and to really build upon that. And I know that's what Kobe Bryant did too, right? With his Mamba mentality of, I think there was a commercial years and years ago, where he talked about success on top of success on top of success. And that really is challenging. I can't remember where I heard it from either, but I really like this quote where someone has said, the greatest danger to future success is current success. And I was like, oh, that's really good, because when you feel like, hey, I've arrived, I've got it, I'm in the jeans or I'm in that dress, whatever the case may be, then I can just kind of hit the pause button. But people have also said, there's no finish line as well. So I think that would fall back into the mindset component of tricking ourselves or thinking, okay, now I can just kind of take it easy. We want to enjoy the moments as you're talking about. And we want to, as one person just said in a book I'm reading too, not just stay in the sprouting phase, but growing phase. We want to get to that next phase of growth. So, what kind of mental exercises are do you do to stay at your game, if you have any? And then, secondly, what does your physical routine look like?
All right. So, in terms of a mental thing, what I try and do to not be so stressed out to let things get in the way, might be working on something and may hamper with your workout. There's something I heard, I think is maybe Craig Ballantyne, another guy in the fitness space. He said, he talks about mind dumping. That's where
Mm,
you have a lot of stuff going on. You just write it down. The stuff you have going on may prevent you from doing what you need to do next. So instead of doing too much, you just write down the stuff, where you are, what you need to accomplish, and you put that away. And it kind of helps you to um, not be as stressed because things are accounted for and you have a starting point again versus trying to guess and try to hustle and try and get things done before you become overwhelmed and just focus on this one task when you need to put it away and move on to something else. So that also helps me to manage stress, knowing that I can safely put things away and come back to it. And then there's a stress that happens when life just happens. There's nothing I I can I could do about it in the moment, and worrying about it doesn't help. Um, I remember my wife, having a good partner is also important. Really, there's
that's right.
something that got me down, and she's like, "Baby, there's nothing you can do about it,
Mm,
right? But when that time comes again, then you'll do the best that you can, and that's all you can do,
yeah,
right?"
yeah.
So that is really helpful, having somebody in your corner
Mhm.
as well who could support you, apart from trying to always do it on your own. And in terms of my workout routine, well, I am a little over 3 months post up from ACL reconstruction surgery,
Mhm.
and I do physio. And based on what I do at a physio session, that is what I try to do within my routine. I'm currently at a gym as well, so I utilize weights. But if it's a little painful for my rehabbing knee, I won't do it. I'll just reduce the weight. So I try to do legs at least 2 to 3 times for the week, only because I need to build them back up. I do pull, which would be back and biceps on one day, and then I would do chest, which would be push, chest and triceps on another day. And I try to incorporate abs on the days that I do my leg workouts.
Okay, very nice. A couple of rapid fire questions here before we wrap up. What's your philosophy with how often a person should weigh? So I wrote a book years ago called Life Beyond the Scale, where I was just weighing a couple of times a month, maybe 2 or 3 times to get an average. But that, looking back, um, I've seen a big difference once I've started weighing pretty much every day. I'll take some time off if I go on vacation or something like that. There's another book called The Every Other Day Diet, professor or scientist out of the University of Illinois. And there seems to be some good data with people who do weigh every day, keeping the weight off. So I'm curious, what's your philosophy? What do you do personally? What are you asking your clients to do with the scale?
Once a week.
Once a
Same
week?
same day, same time before you eat or drink anything.
Okay, so once a week. All right, very nice. Yeah. What's your recommendation for someone who's starting off with an exercise routine, getting started somewhere? A lot of the listeners on my show are 30 and above. So, where would you recommend if someone's getting started with respect to exercise? What would you recommend for them?
I would say they need to start where they currently are. If you haven't exercised in however for a long time or you're not accustomed exercising, trying to do 5 days a week might not be realistic for you. So they'll have to start where they currently are versus just trying to do everything all at once. So instead of 5 days a week, maybe go for 3 days a week. And as you get better, you develop. If it's in your schedule, then maybe you can do 5 days a week and do what you can consistently do at all times.
What are your thoughts with cheat meals, cheat days, free days, however you want to call them? Bill Phillips had them in that book, Body for Life, years ago. I was on Instagram. I started following you, then I canceled my Instagram account. So I'm off all social media. I don't plan on going back. But I know The Rock, for example, would make these videos of his pancakes or cinnamon rolls. Are you pro free days or against free days or cheat days, however you describe them?
I am all for, I wouldn't say cheat days, I would say treat days.
Treat days. Okay, tell
But
us why. Why
it should
why not cheat day versus treat day?
because it seems like you're doing something wrong, but it
Okay.
shouldn't be like you're doing this wrong thing. Yes, you have your goals, but once your treat days falls within your goals, then it's earned. But some people get to the point where they don't really need any treat days. They just eat consistently well. But most people, society hasn't gotten to the point where everything is geared towards this person wants to eat healthy. Yes, we'll help them. Right? There are too many treats, too many things out there for somebody to be so focused. But I am all for it.
Nice. Nice. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
All right, so Supreme Holistic Fitness Podcast, where I had to transform individuals using a changed mindset, good nutrition, and effective exercise.
Okay. Awesome. Um, Final thought for the audience, Keeon. So I know you're a great love for fitness. You've given us a lot of great tips. Final thought that you want the audience to remember.
All right, so final thought. You have one body. God gave you one body. Take care of it. Recently came back when I was at the hospital for surgery. I saw so many people, a lot of elderly people with all types of ailments. If you take care of yourself now, when you get older, you would have less to worry about from a physical standpoint. If you haven't been taking care of yourself and you've already gotten a little older, you can start today and you'll be fine.
Yeah, well said. Keeon, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Benjamin.
You're welcome.